Yes, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chief. If you looked at the 2004 bond election, it was $174 million in open space, and those open space acquisitions contributed to the implementation of the Sonoran District Conservation Plan, which is really the conservation document adopted by the board, and it's working its way in a very laborious process right now through the United States Game and Fish Department to provide this community with long-term compliance with the Endangered Species Act. The $174 million went a long way toward gaining us that compliance, but it didn't assure it in the long term. This additional funds will in fact probably assure long-term compliance no matter what gets listed in the future with regard to the endangered species. And so the number in 95, yes, Carolyn had to twist my arm a lot to get me to agree to 95, but I have to admit I had to twist her arm a lot to get her to agree to some of the transportation improvements. So, the answer is that the open space acquisition is really a multi-generational investment in the region. And in fact, at the level it's at, it will pretty much guarantee us long-term compliance with the Endangered Species Act.
And Chris, on your second question, we did look, when we cut a project, we did look if that would be the death knell or whether the project could still be done. And we tried not to reduce any project to a point that it was impossible to do that. So we did take that into consideration.
Could I ask, in making that decision, Mr. Chairman, were you absolutely aware of all the facts, or would it be helpful if you had the jurisdictions kind of look at it and second guess it as well before you make a final decision?
Yeah, and I think the motion is to refer it back to the individual jurisdictions to reorder the priorities if that be the jurisdictional preference. I've lost track.
So the final statement would be, in sending that back, it's not an invitation to increase the number, it's an invitation to reorder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gary, I think you're next, and then Wade.
I'm going to kind of move from the micro to the macro possibly. There are some cuts in projects, and I'm not going to go too much into the specifics, that to me are just frankly inexplicable. I mean, not only cuts, but then features added on projects that I've been working on for 9 years that have never been discussed or asked for by the public. And I don't know where they came from. Obviously in a room where none of us were present, and that troubles me greatly. The process troubles me, not the hard work that you guys did, and frankly, it might be something I would have voted to say, go do this, please. But I would have liked it if all of us had had a chance to talk about it first and said, yes, go do that and come back with your advice. And unfortunately, I think that's a continuation of what happened last spring with the survey, when suddenly $650 million was put in front of us where we had never discussed it. And I would have liked to have talked about it. Not that it's wrong, and I appreciate the hard work of both staff and the chair and the vice chair. I think one thing that seems to be missing from the room, and I don't know if any of you heard Supervisor Valadez on the radio Wednesday, but his view was this is not the right time for a bond issue, and it's available on radio. It's KVOI, and you can go to his website and listen to Buckminster's show where he talked about this. And I listened to it yesterday after we got this because I wanted to hear his opinion. And we have different opinions here. I know supervisors differ, and that's fine. But he said that people are still concerned about the economy, and he was quite concerned about getting a bond issue through. I have to add my comment that to have a historically large bond issue, this would be the biggest we've ever done, on top of that view, I think is a bit troubling. What he says his office is hearing about is jobs and roads, roads and jobs. He says that's it. That's what the calls are coming in. Now, he's not my supervisor, He may be some of yours, but I'm just passing on to you what we're hearing. And I also would caution all of you, if you vote for this and move it forward, that you need to think seriously about the map of our community and where these projects are. And there are huge swaths of our community, both stressed areas and more prosperous areas, that once again are being ignored, just like they have been historically for decades. And that was something I was hoping we could address in this bond package. So those are my comments. I will not support it. I think right now, given the economy, given the comments from Supervisor Valadez, I think it's a troubling time to put out a bond package this large without having addressed somehow, and I do not think bonds are the appropriate way, but the condition of the